Today on 70 Years of Bestop, I'm going to interview a woman who is a rally driver, off-road instructor, and she makes a living by putting people behind the wheel of a Jeep every day. So today I'm going to interview Nena Barlow. Nena Barlow is a good friend of mine, and I tracked her down. She's really hard to find because she's usually out here four-wheeling somewhere. But I gave her a call and I said, would you want to come drive a flat fender? And she didn't even listen to the rest of the conversation. She was like, I am in. So here are the keys. This is the giveaway CJ3B that Bestop's giving away for their 70th anniversary. We're going to go for a little drive and find out who Nena Barlow is.
All right, let's do it. Woo!
It takes a little, and also, yeah, you should test the brakes too.
Test.
Because it's like...
That's exactly how I remember old Jeep brakes. It's kind of a suggestion.
Yeah.
How are the turns?
No, there's none of that stuff. You can put the window down and like...
With hand signals?
Yes, if you really want to.
I can't see shit.
You're good this way. Yeah, all right, so let's start from the beginning.
Okay.
Nena Barlow. How... Like, where'd you grow up?
So I grew up primarily in the Palm Springs area, Southern California. Okay. I grew up on a ranch outside of Palm Springs, the 1,000-acre ranch. So we had everything. We had dates and citrus and broccoli and corn and horses and dogs and goats and all the things. Yep. Hey, somebody going slower than us. Woohoo!
Yeah, we passed somebody.
Yes.
Might be the last group we passed today.
Right.
So you went from growing up on a ranch.
Yeah, growing up on the ranch, I was allowed to drive the tractor when I was 8, the trucks when I was like 10, so. And
then now you are over in Arizona.
Yeah. So I had family move. I've got family all over the Southwest, and I went back to Sedona. And I got a job as a Jeep tour guide because, I grew up four-wheeling. That was a natural fit. Yeah. My family had been in Sedona for a long time, knew all the history. And so I went to work as a Jeep tour guide. And that was just, until I settled down, grew up, got a real job. Right. Clearly, that just hasn't happened yet.
Oh yeah, any day now, that real job offer will show up.
But I actually started my own company in 2004, so 20 years ago, and primarily to provide four-wheel drive training. Okay. And of course, I was still doing the guiding thing, but I wanted to help people do it for themselves. As a Jeep tour guide, I was driving them around and they're having all this fun in the back, but I wanted people to have the fun of doing it themselves. So, and then that got me into the rental business also.
So your Jeep rental business.
Yep.
How long do people usually come and rent a Jeep for? Is it just a day or a couple of days?
It's usually a day. The first time they'll rent for a day. And then the best part is we get people, repeat customers that end up coming back again and again. And then it's 3 days, and then it's a week.
Yeah. And do they, like if I come to your place and rent a Jeep, do you tell me like where trails are to go check out?
Yeah. Yeah, we're going to give you maps. Of course, the Jeeps, we're driving top of the line Rubicon, so they all have the nav stuff in them. And so we tell people ahead of time, it's like, if you've got Onyx Off-Road or whatever app you like, we just, now of course it's wireless CarPlay, the new ones, so that's super cool. Kind of like this one. Yeah.
Yes.
It's
completely
wireless.
Yeah. Now, are they hard tops or are they soft tops?
Hard tops. So we ran a lot of soft tops, And then of course, we've done the flip tops.
So is that what you do? The hardtop in the back?
Yeah.
And the Sunrider in the front?
We'll do the Sunrider tops, because what we found was when we would send people out with a full soft top, it was like they were like, yeah, we want to be topless, and after an hour or two in the Arizona sun, they're like, okay, we want to be clothes. So we found, of course, the Sunriders are the most convenient option.
They really are.
Yeah.
My JL, I've always had a soft top.
Yeah.
And I just found a used hard top because I want to try the Sunrider, where it's like you can have it in the front half and still have the back half like secure for the dogs or whatever.
Right. Exactly.
So you've been doing Jeep rentals, you've been doing off-road training, and then recently you've gotten into the Rebel Rally.
Right. Yes.
So tell us a little bit about the Rebel Rally, what that is.
Well, so I don't know if you know like all the background on it. So it was started in 2016, was the first year, started by Emily Miller. It is a 1,500 miles, 7 days off-road, and it's not a race for speed, it's a race for accuracy. We're hunting checkpoints throughout the desert for 7 days. We usually have about 25 checkpoints a day. And the kicker is it's all paper map and compass. There is no GPS allowed.
So no telephones.
No telephones, our phones are impounded.
That sounds like the best part.
Yeah, it does. I mean, the first year I did it, it was, I had withdrawals from my phone, but now I look forward to it. Now it's like a vacation. It truly is a disconnect,
So this Rebel Rally, 7 days, navigation.
Yep.
What all do you bring to this?
Actually, I mean, full disclosure, it sounds kind of hardcore when we say, we're camping for 7 days. It really is glamping.
Yeah.
I mean, we sleep in tents, but we have a Michelin-starred chef cooks our meals.
Oh, wow.
Right? We have showers.
Wow.
Yeah, exactly. So it's pretty awesome.
And what have you driven? Like, what do you drive in this?
So I've been in Jeep the last 3 years, and I was with Ram Trucks 4 years before that.
Okay.
So I only skipped 1 year since the start of the event.
Okay. And how have you done?
Great. We've been on the podium 5 of 7 times.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, thanks. We're always going for the, they have an award. So Emily, of course, comes from Rod Hall Racing.
Okay.
And Rod Hall's thing is, he calls it, bone stock. And if you learn how to drive in a bone stock vehicle, then you're going to do awesome when you get all the big modded stuff. And so she has the Bone Stock Award, and that's what we're always going for, because that goes to the manufacturer. Bone stock means we're racing in this car exactly how it came from the factory.
Yep.
And so that's what we want to be able to send home.
So the years that you have won,
Yep.
The vehicle was bone stock.
I've competed in a bone stock vehicle every year.
But do some people compete in modified?
Oh yeah. Now there are limitations. They have to be factory chassis.
Okay.
No tube frames or anything like that. And now the current limitation is 37-inch tires are the biggest tires allowed.
But do you need that big a tire, or is it kind of like, how hard are the obstacles?
So I don't remember if I mentioned the part that it's all women.
Oh.
Yes.
Okay.
So this is all women. So, and I do a lot of training for this event. That women can go to. The Rebel Rally actually has a training program called Rebel U. They can come to Barlo's for training. But one of the things that we tell people is like, can you change a 37-inch tire? So
it might, if you're running 37s, you might think you have an advantage off-road.
Right.
But as soon as you have to swap a 37-inch tire, you're like, maybe I should have run a stock size tire.
Right.
I see. And so you do training, you've competed in it,
Yeah.
you've won it, but you also do training for people that want to enter it.
Yeah, and that's honestly really the spirit of the Rebel Rally is, yes, we're competing, but these women, we're really lifting each other up too. It's like we want everyone to do really well. We want everyone to have a great day and a great experience and help them do that. I mean, I mean, I want them to have second place.
Yeah.
You know, but
Have a great day, but just not as great
not
as great as Nena.
Yeah.
All right. Do you think they should allow men to enter in the Rebelle Rally?
Oh no, we couldn't handle the whining. No.
There would be too much complaining, too many broken parts.
Right, exactly.
So, are all these women that are coming to this, like, do they have motorsports background?
No, that's what is the awesome thing, is it really attracts people from all walks of life. The most amazing thing to me is, I mean, you know, we have like me, who's been in the industry for 30 years, Emmy Hall, who just races her brains out, you know, and then you have people who've never even driven or owned a four-wheel drive, let alone taking it on dirt.
Now, are there physical things in addition to the driving? Like, do you have to like hike something or?
So there can be some hiking, because there are times when, you know, getting that checkpoint might be a difficult drive, and teams might not be comfortable, and they might choose to hike up to with their tracker to click the checkpoint instead of driving up. You know, of course, we always want to drive up.
Yeah.
And it's, I mean, honestly, so you're driving 10 hours a day off-road for 8 days.
Yeah.
And so it really is an endurance event in that regard only, not counting if you have to change a tire or you get stuck in the sand dunes and have to dig yourself out. You know, I mean, there is a lot of physical stuff.
Now, if there's a catastrophic failure, is there like mechanic teams that can help, or support crews?
That's what's super cool is like, you know, we don't have to bring our own pit crews. There's actually your entrance fee, you have all your meals provided, and you have the full mechanical and safety crew of the Rebelle Rally. So if stuff really goes wrong, you can you know, signal your tracker, you can get help, you can get mechanical assistance on the course. You get a penalty for that, but and of course safety. I mean, if you have a really serious incident, fortunately there hasn't been anything
and
terribly
how
serious.
much does it cost?
The entrance fee is $15,000 per team.
Okay, 15, 1-5.
1-5, yeah.
But it seems like what I've seen of Rebelle, there's a lot more like OEM interest than say like Baja Racing or King of the Hammers, because there's a lot of women driving mostly stock vehicles.
Yeah, and that is the nature of that is intentional on MLA Miller's part, is that these are cars that you have in your driveway.
Okay.
And look at what they can do, just the way they come from the factory. And so we have, there is that limitation on modifications. We have had almost every, I think, major manufacturer. I mean, we have obviously Ram trucks and Jeep. We've got Honda, we've got Hyundai, Bronco, Porsche, BMW, Chevy. Almost every major manufacturer that I can think of has had at least 1 year, you know, where they've had.
And you've had some electric vehicles.
Oh yeah. So the Rivian is a big partner in the rally. They've had Rivians out there. Ooh, let's see. I want to say competing for 3 years now.
So even though you're out in the middle of nowhere camping, they have ways to come and charge vehicles and refuel trucks and Jeeps.
Yeah, we have whether you have diesel or just, you know, regular old gasoline or recharging, you know, the recharging system is really amazing. They partner with a company called Renewable Innovations, and this year all of the power for the whole Rebelle Rally and the car charging was hydrogen and solar.
Oh wow!
There was everybody's like, oh, that's great if you're using diesel powered generators or whatever.
Yeah.
No, it was all hydrogen and solar. Super cool. They have this amazing setup.
Yeah. It sounds really neat. It's like you're helping women get into the off-road scene. You're also helping OEMs to try something that isn't so extreme that the vehicle isn't recognizable anymore. Plus, it sounds like a lot of fun.
Right.
And you get a 5-star chef at the end of the day.
Yes, exactly.
Do you have any old Jeeps?
I do. So I have them. They come and go.
Yep.
My favorite thing is the field find.
Yep.
The Jeep that's been abandoned, left to rot for 17 years. And I feel, of course, rotting in Arizona isn't the same as rotting in the Rust Belt, right?
Yeah.
I've had, you know, wagons and Wagoneers and all kinds of things. I currently I still have, and I will have this one probably forever, is a 42 GPW.
Oh, nice.
So that's the oldest one that I've had.
So so it sounds like you've gone through a bunch of different older Jeeps.
Yeah, I find them, resuscitate them just to a driving state, you know, and maybe it's like go get ice cream with them for a while, little dirt roads, and then
Then
I'll
somebody
sell them.
comes up to you and says, I gotta have that.
Yeah, it's that, or I just am like, okay, I've had my fun. It's time to either fix it some more, you know. But I never do like the full restore. It's always just get it, you know, like I said, resuscitation.
Yeah.
Except for my 42, the intention with that one, and that was literally a yard sale find. You know,
really?
In Camp Verde, Arizona. Yeah, it's got bullet holes in it, and
Nice.
but it's the intention was to put that body on a JK, a two-door JK
Okay.
chassis. But what happened was, and while we were kind of waiting around to do that, I put a olive drab paint job on it and just parked it out in front of the Jeep rental store. And people lost their minds.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, we have people, almost daily come in and they have literally like war stories in this case. And honestly, I'm glad I have some of this because most of those guys are gone now. You know, the World War II veterans that remembered that. We had people come in and tell us amazing stories like, oh my gosh, you know, my uncle tells this story about, you know, they went over a landmine and it blew up the Jeep in front of them, and the hood saved his life because the Jeep hood came up and like protected them from the shrapnel and stuff like this. It was like, and then the story that, and I probably can't tell this without tearing up, so bear
That's
with
fine.
me because I wrote about this, I don't know, 10 or 12 years ago, but we had, you know, I'm used to hearing people come in and I'll be in the back office and I've got, you know, my crew up front and people come in and say, you know, oh, can we take pictures of the old Jeep, you know, and, oh yeah, of course, you know, blah, blah, blah. And so I'm always just half paying attention to what's going on up there. And he, I hear this woman come in and ask, she says, you know, do you mind if I park right next to it? Because my husband would like to see, it was an older woman, you know, my husband would like to look at the Jeep and he doesn't get around very well and I want to be able to park, can I park right next to it so he can get out and just, you know, look at the Jeep? And I'm listening to this and she says, you know, he's a World War II veteran and he remembers being driven around all over North Africa and Italy in these Jeeps. And I was like, wow. And so I came up front, you know, and I helped them get parked and help him get out. You know, he's pretty feeble and he looks at the Jeep and here we go, here come the waterworks. He looks at the Jeep and he walks around and he paws and he would touch part of the Jeep.
Oh yeah.
And just stand there. And then when he came all the way around, he saluted the Jeep.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. And he was crying, and when I saw him crying, I just lost it.
It's
Yeah.
it's kind of amazing. Like
Yeah.
there's people that, what do they say? It's a Jeep thing.
Yeah.
You wouldn't understand,
Right.
and it's true.
Right.
And it's like someday somebody will do that
Yeah.
about a new Wrangler because it'll be the thing that
Right.
that their dad drove them around
Right.
in, or they went on a vacation in, or
Right.
so it's
Yeah.
it's definitely, it sticks with you.
Yep.
It gives you something to tell stories about it.
Right.
Like, it's kind of like why we do all of this. Like, we get to come out here, we get to experience nature, we get to be out with our friends,
Yep.
and like, there's a lot of people that don't get it. They're like, why would you want to bounce around in that thing?
We
So,
lost him.
how many,
So-
you guys just rent out like new Wranglers?
Yes.
And
Yeah.
how many people do you have working at your Jeep rental places?
Typically just 3 or 4 at the shop, and then we have a couple of other, full-time people on the, we call it the events side of the business, is the trips and training side. And then we have, a dozen or more people that we work with on a regular basis at our different locations that, from Northern California, Southern California, of course, Utah, Nevada. We're starting to do more and more stuff in Nevada, and of course Arizona.
Yeah.
So
you have Jeep rentals. You do training.
Yeah.
Do you do kind of like guided tours? Like if somebody's like, I want to run the Rubicon.
Yeah.
Can you like take us across or?
Yeah. So the Jeep rental business is kind of its own thing. That's very tourism. The training, we do a lot of technical 4-wheel drive training, and that's typically everywhere from industry and government people to people that just bought their first 4-wheel drive.
Yep.
To then the guiding is different. Guiding is different than training.
Yep.
Guiding is I'm spotting you, I'm helping you through the trail. Training is I'm teaching you how to pick your own lines and find your own way through the trail, right? But we still do both.
Yep.
Guiding is super fun too. We do the Rubicon, obviously we do Moab. We use Moab for both training and guiding. That's just the groups they're just here to have fun.
Yeah.
And they're going to learn stuff too, but.
Yeah.
And then of course we do a lot of, as you know, you've been on these events where we call it babysitting.
Yeah.
Where,
a lot of media events that I've gone to over the years, like Jeep will have their new concepts. A lot of the people in the media, they might work for the Wall Street Journal or whatever, and they fly into Moab to drive these things.
Right.
And Nena is there to make sure that both people that have experience or people that have no experience can drive either concept vehicles or a new vehicle and make sure they can get them through the trails.
Right.
A lot of cat herding.
Yeah, cat herding. The funnest part of that is, depending on the vehicle, I get to go out and pick the trail and kind of set up the route. And so it's picking the route that's going to be the most fun for that particular vehicle.
Yeah.
So we just did the Mojave. That was a highlight.
Yeah.
Getting to choose and drive the Mojaves the way we did.
So where's your favorite place to go wheeling?
It's wherever I am at the moment. I mean, seriously. Obviously, I get to spend a lot of time in Moab on the Rubicon Trail, in Glamis, in the sand dunes, and I love it all. It's fun to get to sort of follow the nice weather around,
Yeah.
But
have you been international, other countries to do Jeep stuff? Or off-roading?
Yes, but primarily, usually just more for vacation stuff, go exploring. But that's also a really cool thing about Jeeps is that that community brings you in touch with people all over the world.
Yeah.
And so it's not just a U.S. thing. It's South America, South and Central America, and Israel, and Australia, and Europe. I mean, everywhere. There's Jeeps are a thing.
Plus, having a Jeep rental, you probably get tourists from all over the world.
Right.
They come and say, "I want to drive a Jeep."
Right. And bucket list, to take a Rubicon tour.
Oh yeah.
So they can fly in and rent one of our Jeeps and go with us on a guided trip on the Rubicon. So.
Do you have some bucket list Jeep stuff that you want to do?
Ooh, bucket list Jeep stuff. Let's see, I haven't thought about that. I didn't know that was going to be on the question.
I think sometimes we're like, we're always looking for opportunities. We just don't always know what that is.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, what's the next opportunity? It's, just say yes, right? I think, and you touched on it, it's probably doing more exploring on other continents,
So I could lightly say that you have been dominating the Rebel Rally with this. Has anybody won as many times as you have?
Actually, so my teammate, Tara Lynn Peterwright, she's actually won, I think she is the most winning Rebel.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
But you were saying, I think we were talking at one point where there was another event overseas that
Yeah.
was before the Rebel.
Yeah, the Gazelle Rally. Similar. It's not the same as the Rebel Rally, but it's a navigation event over 9 days, and it is all women. You know, map and compass only, and that's been going on for I'm not sure 30 years or something like that. And that's it was only in I think it was around 2009 or so that the U.S. team started going over there, and that's actually where I first became aware of Emily Miller. She was one of the first Americans to compete in the Gazelle Rally.
Is that something you would want to do?
I don't think so. I think that so one of the differences between the Gazelle Rally and the Rebel Rally is they're both navigation to get checkpoints, but the Gazelle Rally is scored by the shortest distance driven. And so that's different. The Rebel Rally is just accuracy, finding the checkpoint and the closest to it, getting and as many points as you can get. The Gazelle Rally, that means that you're trying to drive cross country as straight as possible, whether it's huge dunes. So, instead of being mechanically sympathetic to your vehicle and your body, you're like, pounding over stuff,
Okay.
And I teach people that, good driving in the dunes should look like ballet, and it's like driving in cursive. But if you drive like that in the Gazelle Rally, you're losing points, so.
Because if you're just
Sounds
trying
a
to
little hard
bomb,
on your body.
it's probably a lot harder on the vehicles too, because you're just like, we got to get to A to B, and whatever's in between is.
Yeah, you drive over it.
Yeah.
Exactly, or try to, anyways. So.
Let's keep rolling a little bit.
Okay.
So what's a normal day at home for Nena?
A normal day at home for Nena. So I have dogs. I still have a teenager at home. I have a husband who has his own business, and so it's home is base camp, really. You know. And and I'm traveling a fair amount, but I'm traveling maybe 1 week out of the month on average, and it can be anywhere from getting a call that from the Forest Service, calling to say there's a Toyota Corolla at the bottom of Diamondback Gulch, or it can just be a busy day at the store and I'm up washing Jeeps at the rental store, or I'm organizing gear. The house that our house is we bought it because it had a 2-car garage and an RV garage, and it was like, oh, we'll take it. Oh, cool! It comes with a house too. That's awesome, And so I'll be out there, organizing, gear for whatever the next trip is too.
Yeah. What do you tell young women or grown-up women that want to get into this?
Just to do it. I mean, honestly, it's still very few women as a percentage that are in any kind of motorsports, right? And we actually, we can use that to our advantage. I mean, on one hand, don't accept the stereotypes, but on the other hand, let them underestimate you.
Right.
So just do it. Don't be afraid to ask questions. We get men and women in our training classes, and the women will actually usually outperform the men because they listen and they digest. It's not typically filtered through an ego as much.
Yeah.
But I feel sorry for the guys sometimes. I think just because you were born male, you're expected to be all things car and know all things car. And society puts that on you too, right?
Oh yeah.
So
I think the automotive it can actually be kind of a great equalizer, because you can go off-road.
Right.
Like, you don't need a lot of physical strength. I mean, you do, but it's like it's not like you have to pick up 300 pounds to drive off-road.
Right.
Sometimes being more delicate with the vehicle is a better advantage. So, like, I have a buddy he's a quadriplegic, but he's off-roading, and it's like you wouldn't even know when you see him drive through stuff. And I think that's what's kind of cool, because it allows you to it doesn't really matter your physical stature.
Right.
There's so much more to it.
Right. So what about Fred?
What about me?
What is Fred's typical day these days?
I get up and I make
Have
a cup of coffee.
And a bowl of dirt for
Well, I might as well be dirt. I drink a cup of coffee and I hang out with my dogs and go work on a vehicle. I've done a bunch of videos with a couple different companies, and last year we built a Gladiator for a giveaway with Cow 4-Wheel.
Cool, yeah.
Which was fun because it was like we were building something to kind of showcase what that organization does to keep trails open, and then they raffle it off, which was kind of great for me because being an automotive journalist, I've worked with a lot of different companies, so it was kind of fun to give something back.
Yeah.
And then about a month ago, I bought another old flat fender. Unlike you, who enjoys them and sends them down the road, I enjoyed them and seem to end up just keeping them. I need to learn the send it down the road part.
How many are there?
Probably over 20 of different.
Probably over. You're not even sure. Oh my gosh!
I think I just
yours get as bad
I don't
as
like
Payway.
this. I don't like to say. Well, they're not all flat fenders.
Okay.
Like I know when Payway's backyard, it's going to be almost 90% flat fenders. But,
and running? How many are running though?
enough that I can find one to get me to the hospital when I cut my finger off. But recently I did bring home another flat fender, and I didn't really know what I was going to do with it, but I started doing a couple videos, and it's been a huge hit. Like people love it. They're like, they want to know. Like I think there's a lot of people that have YJs, XJs, new Wranglers,
right?
And or they're growing up back east where this stuff rots away,
right?
So the Jeep I think that's it. The Jeep that I brought home is kind of it's a California Jeep, so it's not completely rusty, but it's still 80 years old, and so
has some patina.
Yeah, it has some patina, and it's like worn in and worn out.
Yeah.
But
whoa, we thought it was growly before.
Yeah.
Oh, now we're really screaming.
Yeah. So I don't know. I haven't found out all of the information on how you win this.
Yeah.
But I know you go to bestop.com.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure there's like a no purchase necessary way to sign up.
Yeah.
But last I heard, like if you bought a bikini top, you would get a certain number of entries. Or if you bought like a full top, you would get, like, depending on how much you spend, you get more entries.
Oh, cool. All right.
So.
Wow. Well, I wish all my previous purchases counted towards that because I've owned all of that. Everything that Bestop makes, I've had with the flip tops, I've had the safari tops, I've had the bikini tops, I've had, we're going back to TJ days.
Oh, yeah.
And then other things that we built. Actually, like I have my 42 has a bikini top on it and the seats.
Yeah, so like one of the things that when I got my JL, they didn't offer half doors. And
Sorry.
I was talking to Mark Allen,
and
he said, just get the Bestop half doors.
Yeah.
Like they're super lightweight, that you can like pack them in, and then if you like I brought them here to Moab, and if it wasn't cold and windy like it is this year, I would take off the heavy solid doors and just put the Bestop fabric doors on.
Right.
Which then you have the half door feel, and it also lightens up the whole vehicle.
Right.
So. How old is your?
My youngest is 17, and then my oldest is 26.
And has he or she ever driven one of these?
No, I've made them drive my. Let's see. So my oldest got to drive the wagon, when we had the 59 wagon. And then I had do you remember that rollover 4Runner we had for recovery training? So with the exo cage and everything. So I threatened my youngest that was going to be his car when he got his license because, it was slow. It was completely armored,
Yep.
But,
I've always said I don't have kids, so it's easy for me to say this, but I'm like, get them something with an old diesel that doesn't have a lot of speed.
Yeah.
Get them a regular cab
Yeah.
so they can't bring all their stupid friends.
Right.
A manual so they're not on their phone.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm sure all that goes out the window when you actually have kids, but it's
Yeah.
easy for Uncle Fred to say that.
Well, my oldest was, I bought him a new Compass. It was like, what do you want?
Yeah.
Obviously it's going to be in the FCA family, right?
Yeah.
At the time, FCA family, and he was like, I want something that gets really good mileage. So I was like, you don't want,
Something cool?
something like a lifted Jeep, It's like, no, I can use my mom's anytime. Why? I want something. If I have to pay for gas, I want the Compass.
He can run into Barlo Jeep rentals and be
Right.
like, Mom said I could borrow this, bye.
Right, exactly. And of course, my youngest is like, I want an all-electric Jeep on 38s.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So the opposite.
Yes. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I think we should pull it over here
Okay.
and
Like in the corner here, or what?
Yeah.
Okay.
see if we can find a little pull out.
Cool.
What do you think about driving the CJ3B?
Oh, it's so fun. She's so sweet.
It's a good little
Yeah.
Jeep.
We have to come up with a name for her.
That's another thing. You name all of your Jeep rentals,
Yeah,
don't you?
exactly.
So where can people find Nena Barlow?
So I'm at barlows.us.
Okay.
Our website is the best way to get a hold of everything that we do.
Yep.
And I'm in Arizona, I'm in Utah, in California, Nevada. So,
All over.
Yeah.
So
Finding me is a different
out on
story.
the trail is harder to find you. And then when is Rebel Rally for this year?
In October.
Okay.
Yeah.
And people can actually watch that while it's happening? Is there
Yeah,
a live feed
go
or
to
something?
rebelrally.com, and then all the options are right there. You can watch the live tracking and scoring, or you go on their YouTube live broadcast that's Emmy Hall is hosting. So,
Perfect.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for driving the Jeep.
My pleasure. That
It's
was
a lot of fun this week, getting people to drive it and interviews and catching up with all my friends. One thing we are doing that I'm going to have you do before we leave is I'm going to have you autograph the inside of the hood. Where
Cool.
all the people we interview, I'm going to have them sign it so that when the winner takes this home, they get to see all the people involved.
They know who to blame.
Yeah, for the transmission. Mark Allen, that's the guy we'll blame. That's it for this episode. Thanks for tuning in. If you want to win this, which you obviously do, go to bestop.com and find out how you can enter to win the giveaway CJ3B for 70 years of Bestop. That's a good one. I don't think we'll open the hood right now in the winter.
Yeah,
We
good
might
call.
wait till we're back in the driveway.